Hey, what's up everyone? Andrew from American Musical Supply here at NAMM 2023. I'm in the Mojave audio booth and I'm really pleased to be here with Mr. David Royer. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
That's good. You're quite a legend in the microphone community and design some very special designs. And we'll talk about one of those in a little bit. But can you tell us first a little bit about the history of Mojave Audio and how you started the company?
Okay, that actually is pretty straightforward. Back more than 20 years ago, inexpensive Chinese copies of NAMM microphones were flooding the market. And I was thinking, okay, what would happen if I were to pick up one of these microphones, tear out the questionable Chinese electronics, and build something the way that George Neumann would have built it if he were a guy raised in Barstow, California. And the result was a remarkably good microphone at a ridiculously low cost. And that directly led to the formation of Mojave Audio in 2005. Our first product was the Mojave MA200, which is a vacuum tube condenser mic, basically a poor man's U47, as we have called it from that day to this. And then the 200 led to the 300. The 300 gives a switched choice of polar patterns, as well as a bass cut and a pad.
Okay. Now, in terms of the FET models for each of those, the 201 FET and the 301 FET, are those essentially the same microphone, but they're a field effect transistor mic rather than a tube mic?
Well, the capsules are the same,
okay.
But a vacuum tube mic and a transistorized microphone are two completely different animals. And with the 201 FET, I decided to not copy what other people were doing with their transistorized mics. I decided to pretend that I was an Altec engineer building the very first solid-state microphone for them back in the late 60s. And the 201 FET is a really bare bones transistorized microphone design, but it works beautifully within its limitations. And then the 301 FET provides a choice of multiple polar patterns, which was kind of a pain in the neck to implement because it took a half a dozen semiconductors and at least as many resistors and capacitors on the board all of itself just to get a figure-8 polar pattern.
Wow, okay. Very cool.
And then I added a bass cut and a pad because I had left them off the 201 FET, and I had gotten a few suggestions that I could make a better microphone if I added them.
Right. Cool. Well, there's also one other product that we want to talk about, but I know you got a special award for this one, right?
Yes.
Did you want to tell us a little bit about that award, and then we can talk about the microphone?
Well, I received the Tech Award for the Mojave MA37, and I was quite honored because the MA37, this microphone here, is a microphone that was heavily influenced by the Sony C37A vacuum tube condenser microphone, which was Sony's answer to the Neumann U47. And the engineers at Sony, because of the availability of parts or the unavailability of parts in post-war Japan, and limitations that the NHK placed on the size of the microphone, Sony was forced to basically reinvent the wheel with the C37A compared to the Neumann U47. But the C37A ended up being a very unique vacuum tube mic because of the way it was designed. The thing had so much headroom that you could literally fire a gun 6 inches away from the microphone, and the microphone would drop kick the following preamplifier into the next county, but the microphone had handled it perfectly.
Wow. So how would you describe the sonic signature of the MA37 as being different from, say, the MA1000 or one of the other kind of more, I guess, German-inspired microphones?
Well, the German and Austrian condenser microphones have a penchant for being a bit on the bright and thin side, and the Sony C37A and the Mojave MA37 have almost a ribbon microphone vibe to them. They tend to be very, very solid in the bass, and they have a rather restrained treble, which can often be rather useful. I'm sure that anybody who's been in a recording studio has to deal with somebody who sounds like a banny rooster, and they need to figure out, how do I fill out this scrawny sounding little reedy voice? And that's where an RCA 44BX or a Sony C37A can really make your life easier. Or if you have a singer who goes from a whisper to a bellow, and the U47 flinches at being bellowed at, that's where a Sony C37A or an MA37 can, again, really make your life easier.
Right on. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for giving us the history of this great company and the microphones that you've designed for them. And congratulations on your tech award. And if you're interested in finding out more information about Mojave Audio or purchasing any of these microphones, you can head on over to AmericanMusical.com. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.